Did you know the wealthiest people aren't just masters at making money, but they know exactly how to protect it in ways most of us can't even imagine? Imagine having a strategy so powerful that no matter how the market crashes or the economy shakes, your wealth stays untouched, completely secure. In this video, I'm about to reveal the secret vaults the ultra-rich use to protect and grow their fortunes. You won't believe how the Pritzker family, worth billions, has managed to safeguard their massive wealth without selling a single share. Stick with me, and I'll show you how you can apply these mind-blowing strategies today to protect your assets, grow your wealth, and pass it down to future generations without the government taking a cut. Trust me, after watching this, you'll never look at investing or wealth the same way again. These are secrets you can't afford to miss. The first asset, stocks and bonds. When it comes to investing, most people immediately think of stocks and bonds. And rightfully so, these are no longer foreign concepts to us. With just a few taps on your phone, you can buy an index fund in under 5 minutes. However, what truly makes these assets a vault for the wealthy isn't the assets themselves, but the structure they've built around them. For most people, investing is about building wealth. They put their money into the market with the hope of seeing it grow. Over time, they might develop a strategy, but ultimately they have one goal: growth. For the wealthy, however, they already have wealth. Their goal isn't to make more money, but to protect what they have. This is why stocks and bonds become the outer walls of a fortress protecting their assets. It's a wall that's easy to build, hard to break, low risk, offers stable returns, and is scalable in the simplest way. This is the savings account of the wealthy, where they keep their funds safe from the erosion of inflation. And to ensure their wealth remains untouched, they can't leave everything under their own name. Doing so is something only beginners would do. When you hold a massive fortune, being exposed makes you vulnerable. Thus, the rich don't hold assets directly. They use trusts, shell companies, and family offices to protect them. The goal here is separation. The owner and the asset are never legally tied to one another. If everything is in your name, you face taxes, lawsuits, and external scrutiny. But when the asset is held by a trust, it is protected even after you pass away. This way, they still control their wealth without officially owning it on paper. Of course, we can never know the full details behind these trusts and organizations, as that would break the purpose of their security. However, we can look at a wealthy family in the US, the Pritzker family, to understand how this structure works when they went public with their company. The Pritzkers are one of the wealthiest families in the US, and they've built a vault that has only expanded their fortune over the decades. They own Hyatt hotels, and when the company went public in 2009, they didn't cash out. Instead, they kept most of the stock through trusts and private entities. Rather than selling, they took dividends. Rather than sharing their wealth, they created 11 different trusts. This way, there were no massive tax bills, no family disputes, and no disruptions. One cousin used their trust to start a private equity firm. Another used it to buy real estate. No one needed to sell. No one was forced to sell. These stocks became a form of income and a way to pass wealth to the next generation without ever having to open the vault. And if Hyatt's value ever decreases, they don't need to panic because the bonds inside ensure the trust continues to pay interest. When an ordinary person dies, their estate must go through probate and the government takes a share. But if the assets are held in a trust, the portfolio passes on to the next generation without interruption. The vault never opens, it just changes hands. And when they need cash, they don't sell because selling would subject them to taxes. Instead, they call the bank and borrow based on their assets. You use a savings account to keep your money safe. They use stocks and bonds to do the same, with the added benefit that their money grows every year. The structure of ownership, stable returns, and protection from outside access. That's the perfect first vault. The wealthy don't just know how to make money. They know how to protect their wealth, ensuring it never falls into the wrong hands and remains untouched by external forces. This is the lesson we can learn to build and safeguard our own wealth through simple yet powerful strategies. The second asset, private businesses and equity. Continuing our exploration of the wealth protection strategies of the rich, let's dive into the second vault, private businesses and equity. This is the driving force behind the entire wealth fortress, where all resources are managed and grown. A private business is not just a source of cash flow. It's a crucial part of controlling how wealth is generated. It's not always about the flashy tech companies or viral apps that we hear about. Sometimes it's the simpler, more ordinary businesses that seem unremarkable but generate steady cash flow month after month. You might not pay attention to them until you realize they are everywhere. A food packaging plant, a chain of car washes, or a pest control company with contracts with local governments. These businesses are often low-key. No one knows their stock price. There are no quarterly earnings calls, and they're unaffected by the market. They grow quietly, creating regular cash flow and protecting the wealth you've built without ever needing to make headlines. These businesses operate like a silent, steady money-making machine, quietly and sustainably. When structured correctly, these businesses can be passed down, split up, or sold without disrupting your cash flow. It's like owning a small juice stand. People pass by, maybe they don't give it much thought. They see the stand, buy a cup of juice. You've built it, and your juice stand is doing well, with customers returning every day. Instead of putting your money in a piggy bank, you decide to reinvest in that stand. The money you put in to buy more supplies, cups, and a better sign all help your stand make even more money each day. The first thing this does is keep your money safe. The money you put in is still in the stand, in the supplies, and in the loyal customers. Even when it rains, people will want a cold drink when the sun comes out. The second thing it does is help your money grow. You sell more juice, make more money, and your stand becomes more valuable. If someone wanted to buy your stand, they'd have to pay more than what you invested to build it. And the third thing it does is that you don't need to sell it to make money from it. You have control. A study from the Ramsey Institute on millionaires found that 79% of them built their own wealth. And a large portion of these millionaires created their fortune through owning businesses. This is how successful people create opportunities for themselves. They don't just think about making money. They learn how to own, protect, and grow their wealth. From simple things, you can build a strong empire for the future. Ordinary, unremarkable businesses might just be the key to long-lasting wealth. They don't need to be flashy, but they can provide you with protection and a solid financial foundation. The third asset, art, wine, and expensive jewelry now. Let's move on to the third vault, art, fine wine, and expensive jewelry. When you see gold bracelets, diamond watches, or multi-million-dollar paintings in galleries, you might think that these are just ways for the rich to show off. But in reality, they are not simply for display. They are genuine stores of value. This vault can be hidden in plain sight or carefully stored in a room that no one sees. Wherever it is, its value remains unaffected by the outside world. Art, fine wine, and rare watches don't lose value just because tech stocks didn't meet their profit goals. And this is what we need to understand. Art isn't bound by interest rates or inflation. It doesn't react to government announcements or economic fluctuations. It exists outside of that system. And because the art market is largely controlled by the ultra-wealthy, it follows entirely different rules. When the economy falters, they don't panic and start liquidating assets. In fact, that's when they acquire more. While art is considered a non-liquid asset, you can still use it to generate cash flow. If you own a painting worth $2 million, you can go to a private bank and use that painting as collateral to borrow money. You'll have cash without touching the artwork itself. It will continue to appreciate, and you'll have access to that money. This is exactly what happened with Emily Rales. She and her husband, Mitchell, spent years collecting modern and contemporary art. While everyone else was worried about the real estate market crash in 2008, they continued to collect. They even opened a museum. But the core of their collection remained securely stored, and today its value has surpassed that of some hedge funds. When you understand the value of culture and art, you no longer view it as just decorative items, but as assets that can preserve wealth even when the surrounding economy seems unstable. These artworks are not affected by the market's ups and downs. They don't respond to short-term fluctuations. Instead, They appreciate over time, serving as a testament to permanence. Think of a painting you love. It's not just a beautiful piece hanging on the wall. It's part of a cultural legacy, an asset that can hold its value across generations. And you can use these assets to sustain your wealth without the need to sell them off during economic hardship. When you invest in art, you're investing in something that offers not only financial value, but also cultural value, sustainability, and the ability to retain long-term worth. These works of art aren't just for admiring. They're repositories of wealth that are preserved over time. The amazing thing is, you can start building your own store of value today. Art, wine, and jewelry are all integral parts of the wealthy's asset structure because they don't just protect wealth, they help it grow year after year. These assets don't lose value because of political decisions or market changes. They exist outside the system, and their value will always increase over time. Once you understand that these assets aren't just decorative, but powerful tools that protect and enhance your wealth, you'll realize that owning them isn't just about material possession. It's a smart strategy to safeguard your assets. Start your journey with art, jewelry, and wine, and you'll see that what you're investing in is not just property, but part of a long-lasting story of sustainability and success. The fourth asset, real estate. Now, let's continue exploring the fourth vault, real estate. The reason real estate always appears on any list of how the wealthy maintain their wealth is clear. It's the solid foundation of their wealth fortress. Real estate is a tangible asset. You can touch it, walk on it, collect rent from it, and sell it when the right time comes. No matter what happens with the market, the banks, or the latest apps, real estate remains constant. This is what has made it one of the safest investment channels for many. The rich love real estate because it works on multiple levels simultaneously. First, real estate appreciates over time. A building bought for $1 million in a developing area might be worth $2.5 million after a few years. All you have to do is hold on to that piece of land and let time work its magic. Second, real estate pays you while you wait. You can rent out long-term, short-term, commercially, or residentially, as long as the area is properly zoned. Every month, you'll receive income from that rental. This rental income can cover bank loan payments, taxes, repairs, and still leave you with profit. Real estate is also one of the most tax-advantaged investments in the world. You can deduct interest expenses, renovations, and depreciate the property on paper, even though its actual value continues to increase. When it's time to sell, you can defer taxes and transfer profits to another property without paying taxes on the gains. Some wealthy individuals don't even need or want monthly rental income from their properties. All they want is to protect what they already have. In major cities like London, New York, or Vancouver, high-value properties often remain vacant for most of the year. The number of long-term vacant homes in London has doubled since 2016. Half of the properties on Billionaires Row in New York are also unoccupied. These homes are vacant with no rental income, and that's their purpose. No tenants mean no local tenant laws, no hassle, and no public exposure. This ensures that the property remains clean, out of sight, and continues to appreciate over time. Real estate is also easily passed down to future generations. That's why real estate doesn't just store wealth. It creates wealth and can maintain its value over time. It provides long-term stability, is a low-maintenance asset, and is an incredibly secure vault that's hard to break. The wealthy always know how to harness the power of real estate to build lasting wealth. And if you want to reach that level of prosperity, real estate is one of the most powerful and effective tools you can own. When you start seeing real estate not just as a place to live, but as a financial tool to protect and grow your wealth, you'll realize that it's the foundation for building a stable and prosperous life. From owning a home to owning an entire real estate complex, every step in this journey helps solidify and protect long-term wealth. So, don't just view real estate as a temporary shelter. Consider it as an essential part of your financial strategy, a vault that will stand by you through the ups and downs of the economy. All you need is knowledge, patience, and a smart investment strategy to build solid wealth through real estate. The fifth asset, trust funds. charitable funds, and life insurance. And finally, we come to the fifth vault: trust funds, charitable funds, and life insurance. This is where things go beyond just money. It becomes about documents, legal papers. But don't be fooled. This is where the ultra-wealthy protect what they've built. In the first vault, trusts were used to safely hold stocks and bonds. The goal was to optimize taxes, protect against lawsuits, and make your portfolio invisible. But in this vault, the trust is the real product. It can hold stocks, art, real estate, and even other companies. You gain long-term control, can plan for death, and transfer wealth to future generations without complications. When people hear terms like offshore or shell companies, they often think of shady practices, right? But in reality, these are legal tools that, when used correctly, help the wealthy protect their assets, reduce taxes, and smoothly pass on their wealth. Let's break this down. A trust is a legal structure where one party holds assets on behalf of another. Wealthy families use trusts so their money doesn't go through messy wills or get taxed as an estate. They can decide who gets what and how, even many years after they're gone. It's like writing the rules for your wealth ahead of time, ensuring it continues to exist even after you're no longer here. Now, add in offshore structures, trusts, or companies set up in countries with more favorable tax regulations, better privacy protection, or easier money transfer rules. Countries like the Cayman Islands, Switzerland, and Singapore are prime examples. They're not hiding anything. They're simply choosing the rules that help them meet their objectives. Next, you encounter shell companies. They do nothing but exist to own something, perhaps a building, a piece of art, or an investment portfolio. The name on the asset isn't the owner's, but the shell company's name. This creates a layer of security and sometimes protection if someone tries to sue or make claims. When you combine all these tools, you create a system that's difficult to penetrate. If taxes change in one country, the structure can adjust. If a lawsuit arises, the assets are protected. If someone passes away, the estate isn't frozen or taxed to the point of becoming worthless. It continues moving in the direction it was intended. Most people will never see this layer. It doesn't appear on Forbes lists or Instagram pages. But this is how true dynasties are built and protected. These structures don't create wealth, they help preserve it. They ensure your assets are protected and grow steadily over time. Wealthy families, those who know how to build and maintain their prosperity across generations, use these tools to protect the priceless assets they've built. Trusts, shell companies, and offshore structures are not mysterious. They are legal and smart tools that keep their assets safe from external threats and ensure they can be passed on to future generations without tax or legal issues. This is why the wealthy don't just build wealth. They know how to protect and transfer it to the next generation without leaving any gaps. So, when you look at structures like trusts or shell companies, understand that they're not secrets. They are tools that help you protect your wealth and grow its value over time. This is the key to keeping your assets undivided, safe from harm, and enduring for generations, like an invisible but incredibly powerful vault. And ultimately, when you understand how these tools work, you'll realize that building a solid financial system isn't just about making money. It's about protecting, maintaining, and passing on wealth to future generations. If you've made it this far, you now have the keys to building and protecting your wealth just like the rich do. By using these strategies, you're not only securing your financial future, but also creating a legacy that can last for generations. Remember, it's not just about making money. It's about keeping it, growing it, and ensuring it's passed down without losing value. The wealthiest people in the world have been using these techniques for decades, and now you can too. Don't wait. Start applying what you've learned today and take control of your own path to lasting wealth.